Internet, this season is all over the place. We've got secret powers, we've got wild cards, some who want to quit. We've got the weakest set of alliances I've ever seen, and we've still even got Angela somehow in that house as of right now. I mean, we have Angela until she wins the whole season, right? Right? Right. So, true contenders for Big Brother 26. I usually do this after the first week of any season, but this year I pushed it back a week because, well, I'm cooking up something else in the near future and need a little bit more time. Either way, week 1 and 2 were kind of just treading water and a giant amorphous blob of people going with the house, so whatever. BB26 has been equal parts frustrating and exciting. Frustrating because it has taken weeks to really show any signs of it not being summer camp with someone's angry mom weirdly hanging around, and there's a lot of bad gameplay to go around too. Bad gameplay can be fun, but it can also be frustrating, especially when it's happening from so many people. Straight up, I will be frank, half of this cast has been eliminated from winning this season for me from the jump, from before even Kenny could ask to get voted out. Never mind Angela blowing up her early game and potential entire game as the first HOH, those week 1 HOHs are doing a terrible job ever since Frenchie first started muttering the word meathead. We've also got Kenny who can't decide whether he hates everything about this show or seems to enjoy broing down and winning a comp every now and then. And I get it, this show turned out to be something else than what he expected. It happens. I'm not sure what he expected given it's exactly as described on the label, with competitions involving giant bananas, slippery wieners, and the producers rating the local party city for the stupidest costumes. But I digress. If Kenny wins, we have got a weird mix of Derek Levasseur and Mike Gabler from Survivor. Leah and MJ aren't cutting it for me pound for pound. They're just a little too basic for a contender spot. Like, MJ could somehow get by enough after the house structure collapses and she's just there. But what is she going to be doing from there? I don't know, and I don't think MJ knows either. And that worries me. Cam is generic wallpaper, steady as he goes, and cut from a similar cloth as many past winners. He'll likely win some comps if the producers have learned nothing from last season, but he's been torn up about a flirtmance with Leia, 1 second fawning over her, next dropping her. He is an easy slot to fill into any early alliance because he doesn't ruffle feathers and you can expect him to win something at some point, but too many people recognize how threatening his physique is, and I think it might do him in. Tucker is the wildest wild card in a minute. He is going 110 down to 35. He just wants to bathe in blood and blow the house up in the best way he knows possible, winning puzzles and getting others to do his dirty work. Lisa is already gone, and now he's ready to turn his pent-up boredom toward the entire rest of the house. It's fun to watch, and it leads to chaos, but it's also why I just don't trust him to be the winner. A part of me wants to consider a season where he wins, but then I would also have to take a hit of whatever he wasn't allowed to bring into the house, and that's just not responsible analysis. And then we get to Quinn, the superfan hybrid of McCrae, Ian, Steve, everyone else. Quinn is messy. He knows it. He kind of wishes he wasn't, and for a little bit, I had him in my upper echelon of winner contenders. And to be fair, he is the first player I am talking about that I could still somehow see pulling this out. I know it sounds a little bit diluted, but then he tells another person about his power that he shouldn't, and I quickly start to realize this is a ticking time bomb waiting to explode in my face. And I mean, heck, have you seen the veto meeting that just happened? Quinn will draw heat no matter how far he goes, and he's played too hard, too fast, and it all began to crumble on like day 2 when he told Angela about his power. If that wasn't a major red flag, I don't know what the color red looks like anymore. The top half of the cast, the players I have a little more faith in of this bunch, are showing me the most signs of promise. These are players who I could see finding a way to make this season work in their favor. Cedric is a young recruit who is not a big fan of the show yet, and it kinda shows. He's naive and wants to follow, but he's also got a big heart, and that's worth its weight in gold. He's reasonable, he's logical, he's gonna win more comps, he's kinda like the Derek X of the season where he's learning as he plays, and I think the more runway he gets, the higher he'll fly when he eventually takes off. Assuming his closest allies don't tank his game first. I like Cedric. I hope he does well. He talks to the cameras, and I can follow his train of thought. He's considerate, has a lot of connections, and I'm considering him as a potential contender. We have also got Chemo, laying low, whispering behind closed doors. Chemo is just a sociable introvert who flutters around and everyone seems to like. Everyone seems to think he's not a big threat. He's a number. He's almost like a much less sloppy Quinn. He's more deliberate, and I could see him doing well. Rubina is nearly invisible on the show and not in the current power structure, sort of, but has a lot of friends in a lot of the right places, and they're vouching for her. Rubina may be the most likable player in the game, but you wouldn't know that if you only watched the episodes. She should be more under the radar than I would expect, but she isn't, only because the house structure has put her in a weird spotlight where half the house is appearing to be aligned. I think it's just a matter of time before she truly flies under that radar, and while I worry for her longevity when it comes to securing her own safety if she needs a comp or two under her belt, I can still see a world where she finds success. Chelsea has all the makeup of a good Big Brother player to win this season, but she also seemingly focuses on working with players who may not have her best interest at heart. Cam and Cedric just don't feel like the best of allies, maybe Shields at best, and she's focused heavily on Leia and Cam. Chelsea is also playing a great social game. I could see it earning her a handful of jury votes, and while I'm not fully sold on her yet, I think compared to a lot of the rest, she is someone to keep an eye on. Joseph has my full attention, if only because I enjoy living vicariously through his bad reads on the current state of the game. I've seen people compare him to Jag from last season, and I can kind of see it. Joseph thinks that he's doing better than he really is. He's mostly on the outs of multiple alliances that aren't really considering him as a number, and if those alliances chose to stay the course, he could be in major trouble. He doesn't really want to win any competitions, harkening back to the good old days of the classic seasons with Dr. Will, which concerns me a bit because, well, this is BB26. That said, Joseph is very active in the game and not nearly as messy as many others, and I love how much confidence he has in himself. That could likely translate into something beautiful for him if he catches some lucky breaks. He is a steady Eddie, and a part of me wants to see him fall upwards while thinking that he's blazing ahead onto some road to victory, and maybe that'll work for him. The last two names I have yet to bring up are Tikor and Brooklyn. And if I'm continuing to stay frank with you, they are both two of my true contenders. Yeah, both are active gamers who are constantly scheming, bringing people in, working on side deals with overlapping groups. They have strong social games, strong connections with a lot of the house, and while not perfect, I do desire Tikor to be a little more active with the 3Cs and Brooklyn to be ready to disconnect from the Pentagon Alliance on a moment's notice. Regardless, I think these two are giving me the most potential to take it all. Beyond them, everyone else seems to have more cracks in the armor, and deepfake HOH to my head, I am also going to go with Chelsea and Joseph as my other two contenders. Really, this season has had a fast start with the Angela drama, and then a slow start with the house refusing to take any sort of shape with its alliances. It's a very fluid group that's not solidifying nearly as quickly as I'm used to, and that's largely why I'm enjoying the season, because it's not so cut and dry. But let me turn to you and ask, who are your top 4 winner picks for BB26? Who is showing you the most potential? And who you got taking it all? There's no mastermind, no puppet master, no pack leader just yet, and it's kind of refreshing. I'm rooting for a lot of them to surprise me. A big thanks to my patrons for all your support. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a trail of glitter on your way out the front door, and I will see you in the next one once I, much like Joseph at 1 a.m. on the backyard balcony, confidently blaze that trail on the road to victory.
Not only am I working with someone that I have common interests with, but I'm also aligning myself with the most powerful person in the game right now.
I won the power.
I'm not gonna tell anybody else this either.
Sucker.
Yeah.
1 week later.
I think Quinn has it. Defamation of my character, and
see,
he
I
is
don't-
a snake in the grass.
Keeping Angela is not good for my game. She has so much dirt on me that at any moment she can just loose cannon Angela it up and spill the beans on my upgrade. Who knew she was gonna be the most emotional player in the game? This miscalculation is gonna chase me for the rest of my life.